Imagine this. It's a Thursday morning in Zambia's tourist capital, Livingstone. The humid summer air is everywhere, like an extra blanket on a hot night. But that's normal for Livingstone, as is everything else on this day, just normal. Suddenly, you hear people running and making noise. Confused, you walk to the window to see what's happening. You fall back in terror. There are 10 elephants in your backyard doing everything they can to drop mangoes from your mango tree. As they walk about, they push and drop everything they lean on, everything in their way. You are trapped. You're too scared to walk outside, but staying inside isn't safe either. Your heart starts beating faster. The elephants are walking so close to the house, you can hear them rubbing against the walls as they walk around. Now, stop imagining. Because this is not just a bad dream. This is a true story of what actually happened in Livingstone. And Mizu Eco-Care followed it up in order to get the details and share them with you.
Muli bwanje amayi? Bwino. So tabwera kuti timvele mwaine vintu venzerili usiku uja waine ma elephants yanabwera kono. Nechani chinachitika?
Chinachitika initially on the same night. I think it was on Tuesday night. Kuma around the midnight. Nabwala nzela chepande nenze mnyumba nagona namba mbinambira ma elephants amba kugwesa mamango manji. Ambo sukumula kumitengo kugwesa mamango. Neni nebanga bwantumira phone imwe bantu ma elephants aya azula muno muyadi natawe nakuno kwanga azula sinagone niyangana. Meza chitabwanji nachikungo okwasha kuchikupo okukuchani okukumalata okuyimango eli pamutenge apa. Nata abantu bapazawa apa kayanga tibalipo kayanga sibalipo I don't know. But nenze nami yache pa bedroom ngo ya window yanga nkungo sonjera.
How many were you able to see?
There were a lot.
Okay.
A lot.
Okay.
Such that I think with me they were almost the whole yard, and the next year it was filled again the whole yard.
Okay.
Then in next road there was a funeral. Then I mean at bedroom window I'm hoping to say I'll see someone pa offices abazawa page, but there was no sign. Then lucky enough ukaboka bwa moto kaenda choka pa malilo kubolo baitana bazawa ata ukuja elephants bakungo bantu bayopa more especially these who came from Lusaka from other places.
Yes.
Seeing elephants pa nyumba for the first time they got scared.
Okay.
That's how those guys jumped into a car. They came pazawa. So never na baba ushabaja pazawa. Uja enze pagad you see. That's how we came out. That mena bwana segula window nambo punda. Nati kuna elephant apakisa. Ukukuneba kungo kwesha pamalata afu na mango eli pamalata. Baba kambati okay tanvera. So instead of attending to us, he first went kuja kumalio because kumalio there was commotion.
Yes.
Yama elephants na abantu pamalio.
Okay.
So ndema anaendela kuja. So after aenda kuja, avipisha abapisha na venze kwa kuno konse vaenda. So kwanza kuna saa chimozi chame senza nao na pakisa paka ntemba. So he was just walking innocent that vaenda. Ndepe meshi namuona chija, tafuna mchita attack manje. Mukubwera mumbuye ndiye amana bwagwera mu drainage.
That's our officer?
Yeah, that's our officer.
Okay.
So after agwera mu drainage, Chebe it was just advancing to him. So me anabwa shooting here. After shooting, chabwera apa manje, definitely nabwera apa pakaba. Definitely nagwera. I think that's how he called his other group to say, elephant kuna ishtikabanje. But meanwhile, it was our children, just like she has explained.
Yes.
After you come kuma 03, abanyama atende benzochi baba uka manje batu wensa bambochi guarding apa mempaji.
Okay.
Not until I think it was 5:30 to 6 somewhere.
Okay.
That's when the Zawa guys came in. Kubolo chitenga manje kutupeleka patama kipaja. Bachitosa kwa mahonzi. That's when it was crowded. Okay. So after they just immediately they removed the horns. That's how the community started getting the meat.
Okay. So practically, we are saying this is our officer was alone when he shot it.
Yes, he was alone.
And he fell in the drainage while it was advancing towards him.
Yes.
Okay, so he shot it in defense.
Yes, he shot it in defense.
Okay. Okay. All right, madam, that's what you wanted to hear from you.
No, we are being inconvenienced. We've got these mangoes really helps us. I'm a mango timagorisa. By the end of the day, we buy milime from the same mangoes. But now, if the elephants comes from the bush to come and eat the mangoes, then if it's just survivable, and they come right into our doorstep steps, we don't follow them to the back.
Okay.
Us here, we don't go for game viewing. We don't pay for game viewing. Game viewing is right at our doorsteps. They come following us. Bakoro won't say they come. Muzu bati vutikana bakoro. Usiku tivutikana ma elephant.
Just a quick question. Has there been a situation where the community is attacking elephants, or when they come, what happens? What is the response from the community?
The response from the community when the elephants come into the community, you know how our children are. They start following them, game viewing. They just start following them. Bakungo tambache, bakungo vitambache, komene vienda, bakungo viperekezi. That's what initially happens, and it's dangerous.
They don't attack them. They just follow them.
They just follow them for game viewing.
Okay. So that's what we really wanted to hear. It's very important information. And we really appreciate. We can assure you that we're trying to send a message forward, so that we can find how we can correlate with these animals, understanding that the animal boundary and the human boundary must be well protected, so that people are not their lives are not threatened.
Yeah, because once it's just evening, we have that fear to say elephant.
So we're trying to get to
we have that fear. We don't sleep properly.
Okay. So we're trying to get to the bottom of it, so that we can come up with concrete suggestions and proposals how this can be handled.
For sure.
So that the lives of the people are protected, as well as the lives of the animals. So this is the human-animal conflict we talk about. So we need to find a way of mitigating the situation. So thank you very much, madam, for your help.
You're most welcome. We will appreciate that one.
We will.
We really appreciate.
We'll get back to you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much. All right.
My name is Navutali Dani. I stay around this area. I think the elephants have been a threat around this place, because what I witnessed the other day, around 18 hours, a very big elephant just came around, and the boys and girls who stay in Zambe sawmills, we thought it was a thief. They were shouting, "Kawalala, kawalala," but it was an elephant. And they were stoning it, and then we were only scared that it would have reacted and it would have killed someone. But until this instance, what happened, we only heard around 04, someone called me that at their place, they are following up mangoes around where we stay here. And in the process, I don't know, I only heard that the Zawa people came, and around 04, that's when we were told actually that they killed an elephant. But from the people who stay nearby, we heard it was actually charging on the officer, and it almost killed him. And what happened after that, I think him is better to explain. But actually, the elephants around this place are a big threat, and I think the government has to talk about it, look into it. Otherwise, we love the animals, but if they start getting into our areas, some people might lose their lives, and I think that won't be a good thing. Thank you very much.
I'm Gibbs Mubita. Nikala pamena next na ka hospital ka Kirieso na pa church pamena next year, which is the church of next to Lions Judah here. So our residential ni pamena tukala pamena. So usiku bima bwela daily. So we want to come out to chokele panja uchiticha meno ufuna kuchita ifuna kukonkera paka wataba manzi ajamentu samba kuja somewhere kuja manzi amena choka muja wasamba bwa bya achoka paka bafa ni pameni bienda bikumwa manzi kuja binapa yako somewhere kuja na glass bipoonja kuti bimwe madzi amene atakira pansi kale kuti kamufolo kuja bibwera bikumwa ni daily. So every now and then bibwera bikafika paja bimangenda paja bichaya na offense yose binapwanya, as you can see for example there. Zinapwanya chi offense every time. So every day chikabwera cha bibwanya wamende paja. Even the day before yesterday binayi mwamene moja. Town na bibwera 10, 15, 7. So pame binabwera paja binayi kuchaya na moja mkamfolo paja. This is what happened baza wapame anayi kubwera paja. Anapeza anafuna tabwera chipishe. Ucha chipishe kuja kasi cha muona china. Ndiye paja tamangi mumbuyo asha agwela mufolo kuja wazawa. Pamela agwa kuja na futi. Pamela anabwela maji kuzichita kuta isamugwire. That's why shot ichita anashootinga. Tunambe anaise tu ni muchiten munyumba. But the first chicken gun pow. The second power shooting ndumbe data. Ai paya manje. So pa mbi chinachoka kuja. Chiba kankara kasema chinafika kuja chagwera pansi. Chambako so pa mbi chinapwanya kanyumba kaja manje. Chiende huku chigwere huku. Chambo chichita chabe so paka the end mnyama tomena karapa. You have got a phone number for the dawa. Anabatumira bazawa. Bazawa kuno kuli njo kunikangiwa kuuka. Ni chani. So anabauza kujata no, we have got our men they are in field. But mu field mwameno. So bazabo ya kuiona. And in fact usiku wanabwera kuipeza. So tunabwera laise paja kuchekinga chikangiwa kuyenda uzona paka chingo che inayi kuchana machiten paja bwa paka. That's why you can see kacha kanyumba inafuna kwa habari fana kumulimba unyamata wamena gona wamena mnyumba. So ni mwae chabe otherwise ni daily zibwera.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Patson Chifumbe. I'm the president of the Zambian Association of Indigenous Tour Operators, ZATO, with my colleague here,
Kelvin Mwelwa, the Secretary General for ZATO.
Okay, we are here this, I don't know if this is noon. We are just trying to shed some light on the stories that are happening in terms of the human-animal conflict happening in Livingstone. I think it's very important that people should know what is happening here so that we speak with knowledge. And if we speak with knowledge, then we are able to find solutions. So if we don't present issues as they are, sometimes we don't even seem to find the right solutions. So we are right at the site where this elephant was put down. We are deep in the community, in the living space for people. As you can see right behind us, that is what we used to call the industrial area. The factory is right behind us. So the elephants have passed all those structures here and they are deep right in the living space for people next to the Department of National Parks offices. So really it's something that we think as a people, as a community, as a country and policymakers we need to look into and see how we can help to mitigate what is happening out here. My colleague will probably give an in-depth narration of what really happened here so that you people should understand what really transpired here.
Right, talking about what happened the previous Tuesday where an elephant was shot within the community, we came here to appreciate what really happened so that we could share and begin to realize where the problem is coming from. So there was a huge number of elephants that came into the community on that night. They went to about 3 to 4 houses and they were eating mangoes. And from that particular area, there was a funeral on the other house and the people at the funeral got disturbed. So they had to walk through to the Zambia Wildlife offices to find some assistance. And when they got there, they found one officer who went with them and tried to chase these elephants back into their animal space. So in an effort to do that, he managed to clear the elephants to move on. But as he was returning to the office at Zawa, he did not realize that there was this one particular elephant that was still there and hiding by one of the twin timbers that we have around here. So as he was just passing there, this elephant charged on the Zawa officer, and apparently he fell into the drainage, and that saved him because it really meant to attack him. So in defense, the Zawa officer was compelled to shoot this animal down. And when he shot it at this animal, it moved a few paces from where it was shot to right where we are standing here. This is where it dropped, and it died. So in the early hours of the following morning, around 05:06, the community was out and they were making noise. They shared the animal, and the story goes on. But the concept is we're trying to see how deep is this problem, or what is causing this human-animal conflict, where we're coming to such incidences happening within the community. So we do realize as ZATO that the interest of the community is very, very important. And at the same time, we are also looking at the efforts that the Zambia Wildlife Authority is making in keeping these animals within their space. But unfortunately, we are compelled to see that, we see that these animals are actually overpowering themselves into the community because of what is happening in the national park. So talking about the problem itself, we want as ZATO to bring out what we feel is where the problem is starting from. To start with is we're looking at our national park, a very beautiful national park, very small, but unfortunately we have a situation even today that we have structures being built into the national park, and we keep talking about this. We are now squeezing the animals in a corner. So when we begin to develop the national park, putting up structures there, we displace the animals, which forces these elephants into the community. And when they get into the community, definitely the conflict is there. And what is going to happen is if we continue at this pace, we're going to find a situation where they begin to kill our own people in the community. And that is going to be very unfavorable. So technically speaking, the problem starts way back from the conceptual process of authorizing institutions to build lodges and into the national park, which is a very wrong concept altogether. So we really feel as ZATO that it's about time the government said no to developments into Mosotunya National Park, because it's a small national park. The animals need space. So the more space is taken away from them in there, the more human-animal conflict we have in Livingstone town. So the numbers of elephants that came this time into this community, this particular community, were so huge, okay? One lady is talking of about 15 elephants in her yard. Now imagine that's a huge number of elephants in a household where there are babies and children, and the risk is so much big. So what we feel is that as ZATO, we are proposing that the government should stop any further development in Mosotunya National Park, because it's a small national park, the animals need their space, and that's the only way we can mitigate that. We can employ as many Zawa officers as possible, but that will not stop the elephants from coming into the community. Because one, they'll come into the community at night when the Zawa officers are not at work. Two, they'll come into the community because they want to feed. And the small national park we have, by this time around, all the food, the plants, they are gone, they're eaten. So they are compelled to come into the community. So let's create more space for these animals. Let's observe the human-animal boundaries. And for us to do that, it's not a matter of the Zambia Wildlife Authority firing gunshots and sending those animals back into the park. It comes back to decision-making. It comes back to policies that are made around who builds in the park and what's the concept and what are the repercussions, what are the counter effects of these constructions. So when we actually understand how we build these policies around national parks, we'll be able to mitigate such problems. So as the ZATO, we are really focusing on sharing this discussion with the larger community so that we begin to understand that the Zambia Wildlife Authority is doing their job, is doing a wonderful job, but they cannot mitigate this problem on their own. It goes to policymakers. The government itself cannot mitigate this problem alone. It goes to what kind of policies we have in place that do not allow such developments to continue flourishing in the national park, squeezing the animals out of the national park into the community. This is going to be a very scandalous issue in the years that come forward if we do not change the way we think and perceive the livelihood of the animals and the people at large. Mr. President?
If I may say something, just in relation to for me, it's the perception that we seem to be receiving as the people of Livingstone and the local community. No one really seems to think on their behalf. We're not looking at what they are going through. We are just interested in seeing that these animals have the liberties to go wherever they are. You know, there's no one in this world, not even a human being, has absolute freedom to go anywhere. The animals should not have the liberties to just come into my house. I will not be comfortable, and I'll react depending on what they are doing in that space. Now, here is one of the things. We've been looked at in such a way that maybe we are very hostile to the animals. We are not. We love these. Some of us, that's our livelihood. We buy our bread and butter from taking tourists to see these animals. Now, these animals, as in Livingstone. Livingstone is a very unique space. It's the smallest town in the country in terms of the geography, its location. Now, we have a park. This park that is so big in terms of its publicity is a very small park. It's only about 22 square kilometers. 22 square kilometers is nothing. People have said, no, people in South Luangwa, they are coexisting with animals. That park is about 9,000 square kilometers. Compare that to, right now, we have more elephants than we have ever had before. Why is that happening? It's been right now, this is our driest month. If you go in our park, you find there are just few leaves around. Until the rains come, this is when these trees will start sprouting and so on. The only thing that seems to be available in terms of fresh food is the mango. So this is why they are coming here. But the other factor is, like my brother here has already said, is we have taken too much space in the park. We uproot trees, we dig them out, and we don't even replace them. That's the source of food for the animals. Now, how do we get along with these animals? Right now, we can't guarantee anything. For once, people are saying, no, way back in Livingstone, we used to live with these animals. The population of Livingstone has probably quadrupled or something like that. We're talking of probably 300,000 plus people in this place. Way back in Livingstone, you probably would see a face and you be very familiar. We're very few people. So even the living space has expanded. But the beauty of it, people have not gone to build in the park. But they're all over the place. This place is so densely populated that the living space, when elephants come here, there's no corridor for them to pass here. They're actually dropping walls and buildings and so on to pass. No one should then come out and condemn the people, because the people need to survive. People need to live. Someone should be able to speak for these people. Now, if there's no one to speak for these people, the government should also do something about it. The policy part of it. We cannot seem to want buildings in the park all the time. How do you look at things like that? What kind of investment policy is that, where everything that comes in terms of tourism has to go in the park? What are we doing? People don't come here to this country so that they go and sleep in the park. No, they come because they want to see the animals. So you have to leave the space for the animals free so that the animals are there. We can build outside the park and take people in the park for an experience. So let's leave room for the animals to do whatever they have to do in that space. Now, if they come to where people are living, I don't know how you can condemn people for it. You say, no, educate the people, educate people. What education are you talking about? Are you going to educate people how to die or how to survive in terms of food? Because these animals, they come and eat their food. We had a lady there telling us that he came and picked up a pack of sugar. Naturally, that is not animal food. But they come and get us. No one replaces that sugar. If they were able to replace it, fine, but it's not normal. We don't live like that. So people need to be serious. Government has to look into this investment policy, especially when it comes to Livingstone, because it's such a small park. If you want to do that, go and do it in the Kafue National Park. Kafue National Park is about 22,000 square kilometers. It's huge. It's bigger than France. You can do that there. Livingstone is too small, but we still seem to want to put structures in that place. It's not fair. And then you condemn the community. The community have done nothing wrong here. They have lived with these animals since time immemorial. And these animals, they keep coming here because animals won't go where they are in danger all the time. They come here because they know they are free. But when they go to spaces where people are living, it's a different story. The people didn't kill the elephant. It's an office of the government that shot it down. And he shot it not for any other reason, but he was almost gone. He was going to die. So would people have preferred he dies and the elephant lives? No, even me, I can support that. He did well to save himself. He has a family and everybody else who depends on him. So let's be fair. Let's not just criticize. Look at what is happening here. If you have any kind of influence, talk to those that are making policies and stop what is happening in this small park. That is the one way we can probably mitigate the situation. So there are several organizations that seem to be involved in this animal-human conflict. When people's gardens are eaten up, these people don't even go there to help these guys. There's a lot of money that is coming to these institutions that are policing animals and human beings, but they will never go to a place and say, your wall was dropped by the elephant, we'll put it back. They don't do that. They'll just leave you to suffer on your own. They eat gardens, people go hungry. They won't even take a bag of mini meal there. So what are you talking about? Educating, that is not enough. If you want to be serious about what you're talking about, be practical. People appreciate even when you talk to them. But if you're just talking to give them lip service, it's not helping. So let's be real. I'm a tour operator. I would not be happy to see a Zambian going in the park there and hitting animals. I'll be the first one to challenge them. But if the animal comes to threaten their lives in their living space, it's a different story. So let's be honest, let's be serious. The investment that we're throwing in the park, I don't know what is happening there, whether there are special rates or these organizations that allow these things are getting special funds for that. But they need to understand that there are people, there are consequences, there are ripple effects. After what you do, there are certain things that come, like the animal-human conflict. You can't mitigate it because you've already eaten the money. You've allowed people to invest in the space that you're not supposed to invest in. So how do people live? So as a government, we need to change the way we look at things. Let's invest. Yes, let's encourage investment, but let's not encourage investment in wrong places. That is basically what I would say. I really feel sorry for our people. I want tourism to continue thriving. It's a very huge sector in this country. People live on it. But we cannot sacrifice people's lives. People's lives, these are Zambians. Those animals belong to them. It's not the other way around. The animals cannot suddenly become too important than people's lives. So let's stop frustrating the space where these animals are, and then they get out and frustrate people's lives. So that cannot be accepted.
So our earnest appeal is that, we're really hoping that the current government, the New Dawn government that we have, will be looking at these policies and revising some of these policies to really suit these mitigation effects that we're talking about. So we really hope that with this government in place, things might be different. We are compelling them to revisit some of these policies that talk about constructions in National Park, some of these things, because when we look at those constructions, today they may look nice and attractive, but the ripple effect is that, they go into the community. They squeeze the animals into the community, and the problem becomes big. To me, I've lived and worked with the Zambia wildlife officers in Livingstone for many, many years. And I've seen how they have spent sleepless nights to try and keep these elephants back in their space. But you're sending the animals back in the space, which is already taken. So their efforts are futile because somebody made wrong decisions. Their efforts are futile because somebody is not making the right policies. So if the right policies are made, it helps the wildlife officers to maintain these animals within their space, because they do quite a lot. And we should appreciate them, because if they were not there that particular night, it was one officer who managed to handle, I'll probably say out of my head, 40 to 50 elephants in one night. And that's not a small job. So it's such a big job, it's such a huge job. So we really appreciate their presence and we really appreciate the effort. But what we're saying is, can government revisit these policies? Thank you very much.
Thank you.